Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure you're part of our journey. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and get ready for a story that will leave you thinking. And if you love inspiring tales, a like goes a long way. If you're pregnant, maybe you shouldn't be taking the subway. The words sliced through the crowded morning train, hanging in the air like poison. Every head pretended not to hear as the woman's face drained of color. The downtown express rocked violently side to side, bodies pressed against bodies in calculated indifference. Her knuckles whitened around the overhead rail, 7 months of new life straining against her navy dress. Two men in matching gray suits exchanged smirks, one deliberately spreading his newspaper wider across the last empty seat. In the corner, partially hidden behind the morning crowd, a figure in a worn baseball cap and simple black jacket watched quietly. His eyes, warm, observant, missed nothing. What happened next would remind everyone why Keanu Reeves wasn't just a Hollywood hero. If this moment made you feel something, imagine what's coming next. Hit that like button and stay with us. Subscribe now. The woman swayed dangerously as the train lurched around a bend. Her free hand moved instinctively to her swollen belly, a universal gesture of protection. Sweat beaded along her hairline despite the car's aggressive air conditioning. 3 stops had passed since she'd boarded, 3 opportunities for someone, anyone, to offer their seat. Instead, people found sudden fascination with their phones, newspapers, and shoelaces. "Getting nauseous in public is just attention-seeking," muttered one of the suited men to his companion, loud enough to be heard by those nearby. A few uncomfortable chuckles rippled through the crowd. The woman's chin trembled slightly, but she lifted it higher, summoning dignity in the face of casual cruelty. The train screens flashed with advertisements for luxury watches and investment apps, images of success measured in dollars and social status. People clutched designer coffee cups and scrolled through lives curated for maximum envy. Yet not one could spare a moment of basic humanity. The subway car had become a perfect microcosm of urban indifference, where acknowledging another's suffering might somehow diminish one's own carefully constructed existence. "If you can't handle public transport," continued the first businessman, emboldened by the lack of opposition, "maybe stay home." His companion snickered, adjusting his tie with manicured fingers. The woman closed her eyes briefly, each word landing like a physical blow. Her breathing became shallow as the train rocked mercilessly. The man in the baseball cap shifted his weight almost imperceptibly. To most, he was just another commuter. Nondescript clothing, beard slightly unkempt, eyes downcast. But something in his posture changed. A quiet alertness replaced his previous stillness. Those familiar with his films might have recognized that subtle transformation, the moment when observation turns to action, when John Wick decides enough is enough. A collective gasp suddenly rippled through the car as the pregnant woman stumbled, nearly losing her grip on the handrail. Her face had gone from pale to gray. No one moved to help her. No one except the unassuming figure who now straightened his back and adjusted his cap, dark eyes assessing the situation with calm intensity. What happened next would become a story told thousands of times across social media platforms worldwide. Things are about to take a turn. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe, like our video, and keep watching. Keanu moved with the fluid grace of a man who had spent decades performing his own stunts. Each step was measured, deliberate. He navigated the crowded car without pushing or shoving, somehow creating space where none existed before. 3 people who recognized him despite his casual disguise whispered to their neighbors. Phones raised discreetly. The atmosphere in the subway car shifted as awareness spread like ripples in still water. "Excuse me," he said, his voice surprisingly soft, yet carrying effortlessly above the train's rumble. The businessmen looked up, annoyance flashing across their faces at the interruption. That annoyance froze when they recognized who stood before them. The train's fluorescent lighting caught the angles of a face known to millions, casting shadows that emphasized his intensity rather than diminishing it. "This woman needs to sit down," Keanu continued, gesturing toward the pregnant passenger who now leaned heavily against the pole, eyes half closed. "She's clearly not feeling well." The first businessman's mouth opened, then closed. Recognition battled with embarrassment on his face. We were just," he stammered, newspaper crumpling between nervous fingers. His companion stared straight ahead, suddenly fascinated by the subway map across the car. The collective silence of the passengers had transformed from indifference to rapt attention. "It costs nothing to be kind," Keanu said, not raising his voice, not grandstanding. He spoke as if sharing a simple universal truth that had somehow been forgotten. More phones emerged from pockets and purses, recording discreetly. The woman swayed again, and Keanu's hand shot out to steady her elbow with gentle firmness. "I'm fine, really," she whispered, though her complexion suggested otherwise. Her dignity remained intact, even as her strength wavered. The businessman with the newspaper stood up so quickly that his companion was startled. "Please, take my seat," the man said, avoiding eye contact with everyone. The transformation was remarkable, from mocking cruelty to paper-thin politeness in seconds. The seated companion quickly followed suit, gathering his briefcase. 2 empty seats now available, where moments before there had been none. The magic of celebrity, perhaps, but something deeper was happening in that crowded car. "Thank you," Keanu said with a nod, but there was no warmth in it. He guided the woman to the newly vacated seats. She sat with visible relief, both hands cradling her belly. The businessman shifted uncomfortably, trapped by the crowd, forced to witness the aftermath of their behavior. The train slowed for the next station, but no one moved toward the doors. No one wanted to miss what might happen next. "Sometimes we forget we're all just trying to get somewhere," Keanu said, addressing not just the businessmen but everyone in earshot. The quiet intensity of his words carried more weight than any shouting could have achieved. "Some of us are carrying more than others. This story is only getting deeper. What would you do in this situation? Comment below, and let's talk." The train lurched forward again, but the physical movement seemed minor compared to the emotional shift occurring in the car. Phones recorded openly now. The woman had regained some color in her cheeks since sitting down. She looked up at Keanu, gratitude and embarrassment battling across her features. "You shouldn't have to," she began. "No one should have to ask for kindness," he interrupted gently, resting his hand briefly on the handrail above her. "It should be freely given." His eyes met hers with genuine concern, then swept across the car to include every passenger in his gaze. There was no accusation there, only a quiet invitation to be better. One of the businessmen, desperate to recover some dignity, thrust his hand toward Keanu. "Huge fan of your work, Mr. Reeves. The Matrix was..." Keanu shook his head once, cutting the man off. "This isn't about me or my films." His voice remained calm, but there was steel beneath the gentleness. "It's about seeing people. Really seeing them, when it's easier to look away." The businessman's extended hand hovered awkwardly before dropping back to his side. An older woman across the aisle stood up suddenly. "I've been sitting here this whole time," she admitted, voice cracking with shame. "I saw everything and did nothing." Tears glistened in her eyes. My own daughter is pregnant. What if it had been her? A college student removed his headphones. A businessman closed his laptop. A teenager stopped scrolling on her phone. One by one, passengers emerged from their self-imposed bubbles of isolation. The pregnant woman looked around in wonder as 3 more seats were offered to her. "I'm okay now, really," she assured them, one hand protectively on her belly. "But thank you. Thank you all." Her voice grew stronger with each word. The transformation in the car was palpable. Strangers making eye contact, nodding in recognition of shared humanity. The 2 businessmen stood awkwardly by the doors, their expensive suits no longer armor against judgment. "I'm sorry," said the one who had made the cruel comments. I don't know why I said those things." His apology hung in the air, incomplete but genuine. "We see what we're willing to see," Keanu replied, not unkindly. "Today, you saw a little more." He adjusted his cap and stepped back, attempting to blend into the crowd again. But it was too late for anonymity. The moment had been captured, would be shared, would spread across platforms and time zones within hours. Not because a celebrity had been spotted, but because something authentic had occurred in a world starved for genuine connection. It's not over yet. The best part is coming. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. At the next station, the businessman exited quickly, eyes downcast. As the doors closed behind them, something remarkable happened. A young woman offered her bottle of water to the pregnant passenger. An elderly man asked if she needed help getting to her destination. A teenager gave up his spot by the door so she would have an easier exit at her stop. "I'm Lisa," the pregnant woman said to Keanu as the train continued its journey. "Thank you for what you did. Not just for me, but..." She gestured around the transformed car. He smiled, that famous Keanu smile that reached his eyes and crinkled the corners. "I'm just another passenger," he replied, though they both knew that wasn't entirely true. What he had done transcended celebrity. He had simply acted as any human should when witnessing another in distress. By afternoon, the first video had been uploaded. By evening, it had gone viral. Keanu in the subway trended worldwide, but unlike most celebrity hashtags, the conversation wasn't about his latest film or his appearance. Comments focused on the message, not the messenger. "This made me cry. When did we stop seeing each other?" "I offered my seat to an elderly man today. Small thing, but it felt good." Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear baseball caps on the subway. Media outlets picked up the story, expanding it beyond the initial subway moment. Interviews with passengers revealed how a single act of kindness had created a ripple effect. The woman who had admitted her shame spoke about calling her pregnant daughter afterward. The college student described helping a lost tourist later that same day. When asked about the incident in an interview weeks later, Keanu responded with characteristic humility. The real hero was Lisa, standing there despite feeling ill, maintaining her dignity when others tried to take it away. He paused, thoughtful. "We're all just traveling together on this train, you know? Sometimes we forget that." Lisa eventually found the interview. By then, her social media post thanking the kindest stranger on the subway had received thousands of supportive comments. Her baby daughter was born healthy 2 months after that morning commute. She named her Hope. In a world where attention spans are measured in seconds and viral moments fade quickly, something about this story endured. Perhaps because at its heart, it wasn't about celebrity at all. It was about seeing what we choose not to see, and the quiet power of refusing to look away when someone is suffering. Sometimes the most heroic act is simply the act of truly seeing another human being. Wow, what a story! If this moved you, imagine what else we have for you. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and let us know what you think.